1. This is a story about a table whose conscientious decision to be kind has stuck with me. Years ago, I was working a basic dinner rush. I was pretty experienced at this point, and only had 6 or 7 tables, but that didn't stop me from experiencing a server-mare crash that would stick with me for years. Thankfully, it wasn't the jerks that made this memorable, but a family that noticed how upset I was and successfully helped me out, just by being themselves. I had just reached full crash mode, you know the feeling. This crash was caused mostly by one table's multiple and unique dietary restrictions that were compounded with preferences, and delivered by a Karen-type mom. He can't have gluten, I can't have soy or seafood, no dairy for my husband. These are all deadly allergies. But I also don't like onions and he won't eat it if it has cilantro. My mom is vegan, but again, no cilantro. Put the pickles on the side because I'll eat them. Carrot sticks instead of fries for my brother. So dealing with this table meant I was neglecting some of the others. Just as I was about to get the other tables caught up because table 31 got their food, Karen Mom flagged me down. Of course, because literally everything on this 8-top was modified, the kitchen got some things wrong. Not kitchen's fault, the entire order was a mess. I had already included the managers, who thought Karen's mom was insane. Anyway, Karen's mom was furious, said I was incompetent, and demanded I got her my manager. Note, manager was on my side in this. My section was close together. All of the tables could see Karen Mom freaking out about something, telling my manager how awful I was right in front of me. I turned to another table, who then decided to tell me they didn't like being neglected, even though they understood how awful that other table was. They heard the whole thing, from order to freakout. I was so frustrated, upset with myself for crashing, and feeling so overwhelmed. I'd never been called incompetent before, and it stung. A tear was falling down my cheek, and my chin was trembling. I brushed it off and turned to greet the table of 5 that had been sitting there for who knows how long. I said the usual greeting, trying to push my way through. My voice cracked. My chin trembled. This table knew what was going on. They had a front row seat to the Karen freakout. The dad greeted me with a very cheerful, "Hi there!" My chin trembled as I tried to smile. I took a breath, and my eyes started to water, and I looked at him, unable to speak. He then asked each of his family members how they were. They each took his lead and copied his extreme cheeriness, and gave a bit about what they liked about their days so far. He basically saved me from having to talk and gave me the time I needed to get my chin tremble under control. They joked with each other and made me laugh. Their happiness and charisma washed over me. Standing at that table was like standing in the summer sun. He knew I was about to crack, and I think his family did too. They used what they had, each other and their happy, charismatic, funny family, to modify the atmosphere. I recovered from the crash, and saved each table except for 31 because fuck table 31. 2. I'm a breakfast server in a hotel restaurant. Our hours are 6:30 to 10:30 a.m., with a 30-minute break, and then lunch is from 11 to 1:30 throughout the week. There's currently a large Baptist church convention at the venue next door to us, so we have been 100% booked for 2 weeks with the group. We expected a large crowd for lunch, so we skipped our breaks and tried to plow through side work and cleaning the breakfast area during our break period, so we wouldn't be working through 4 p.m. Happened anyway, but that's not the point. During this time, many guests from the group came to check our times, and a large crowd had amassed to wait for 11 on the dot. As soon as the clock ticked over, they were lined up. Then the unimaginable happened. My co-worker was cleaning our breakfast area and slipped on a greasy spot behind our omelette station. Her leg was completely numb, and she was unable to move, sit up, or stand. The paramedics were called immediately, and the guests at the front of the line were told it would be a minute before we would be opening. As we're managers, HR servers, supervisors alike, tending to our emotional, battered friend on the floor, a guest shouts from the lobby area, "Hey, are y'all gonna open and serve us, or are y'all gonna stand there and visit?" This sent our poor co-worker back into hysterics, and she tried to get us to help him and not fuss over her. I, and I'm sure the rest of my team, were furious in a matter of seconds. I've never gotten so mad in such a short amount of time. Our supervisor managed to hold her tongue, unlike the rest of us who completely discharged our customer service voice, and told him that we were waiting on the paramedics. He didn't even look sorry at first. Even parts of the crowd that had formed looked completely shocked at the audacity of this guy. We all stayed where we were, scowling and shaking our heads. I made good, long eye contact with him as I knelt with my hurt friend. We all prayed he burst into flames. Our supervisor talked about refusing him service, but he must have realized he was the asshole and was nowhere to be found when we opened about 10 minutes later. Other people in the crowd revealed that he was a pastor with the church group. Co-worker is okay. She damaged a nerve in the fall and is on crutches being pampered at home. No breaks, thank heavens. Leader of the conference is likely to be contacted about this man. Always keep in mind that companies don't do things like not open for reasons like we wanted to stand around and talk. That doesn't happen. The reason might be an emergency, or as little as waiting for a server to come back from the bathroom. Patience always begets better service in every single context. And most of all, just don't be a dick. It's even more awful that a pastor who acts like this is out there, preaching for people to be the exact opposite. There's a special place in hell, I'm sure. But all in all, whoever you are, just don't be a dick. 3. So I worked one summer as a server and bartender at a daiquiri bar, alcoholic slushies, in a tourist beach city in the US. Since it was seasonal work, we had some unreliable employees, and were sometimes understaffed on super busy nights. On this Friday shift, I was the opener, 11 a.m., and ended up having to stay on because one of the night bartenders was unable to work. Then I find out the other bartender is also unable to make it in for their shift, and now I'm going to have to stay until 2:30 a.m. to shut down the bar. Now this definitely isn't ideal, but I'm not working the next morning, so it's not the end of the world, plus it'll be worth it at the end of the night when I get to walk out with a few extra doll hairs. And the management was chill and thanked me a bunch for picking up the slack. Keep in mind that this isn't a full-service bar, so making the daiquiris is quick and easy once you remember all the different combinations. Most of the time, guests are infatuated with the drinks. Taste good, pretty colors, can't get it at home, etc. It's good fun, all while making some easy money. On a Saturday night like this one, midsummer, it can get pretty busy at the bar. I'm talking like 40 customers packed on top of each other with only 2 bartenders. But like I said, drinks are quick and easy. For me, when it gets super busy, I just kinda get in the zone. And when you're slinging drinks that quick, there's not extensive small talk. Most of the time, customers can read the situation and keep it brief so they can get their fix, fill their void, and be on their merry way. I should also add that I'm a pretty tall guy with a naturally serious face that gets worse when I'm tired. If I had $1 for every time someone told me I should smile more, I wouldn't have any student loans. It's gotten to the point where I'm literally self-conscious about it because I'm afraid people look at me and think I'm just an asshole because my face is relaxed. Now, on any given weekend in peak tourist season, we'd see maybe half a dozen bachelorette parties. It got super old and kinda annoying after a while, as you might imagine. And often there were some weird games and scavenger hunts that involved the servers and bartenders. But I always played along. It's a big life experience and everyone just wants to have a good time. So midnight rolls around, 13 hours into my 15-hour shift. And in comes your typical already drunk bachelorette party, being quite obnoxious. Like they expect the whole place to stop what they're doing and roll out the red carpet because Karen is getting married. They make their way up to me, and I say my go-to line. "How we doing, ladies? What can I get for you?"
Why don't you smile more?
Oh, sorry. It's just my face.
Oh, if you smiled more often, you would get a lot more money.
Blah, 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 telling me how to do my job, and it's her bachelorette party. Well, I'm actually back here alone, and on a dub... Then I noticed no one was listening as a couple of other girls from the party chime in, saying similar things, all giggling with each other, as I stand there awkwardly waiting for them to finish telling me how to do my job. So I can do my job, and help the umpteen other people waiting to be served. Whatever, annoying, but no biggie, these things happen. Didn't think there was any animosity, just got them what they needed and did my thing. Shift from hell finally ends and I make some decent money. The following night, Saturday, a few of the same ladies come in, and I'm not on a double by myself like the night before. I see them and make a very conscious effort to put a big smile and try to explain again how yesterday was a long day. But they couldn't give two shits and seemed to be actively ignoring me. Okay, whatever. I'll try to make their drinks extra pretty and photogenic since I'm not slammed right now. So I give them their drinks and off they go to sit on the patio. Bridezilla walks right back up to me with a smug look on her face. WTF? She then holds up a penny to my face and exclaims,
"Oh, and here's your tip!"
Then throws the penny into the tip jar right in front of my face. Honestly, my first reaction was utter confusion. I had no clue what I did that would cause her to do something so disrespectful in front of a bar full of customers. So when I got the chance, I told the GM about what happened and explained the interaction the night before. Then I took a few moments to calm my nerves before I get back behind the bar. I'm not a big fan of confrontation. The GM was the type of boss that you know will have your back when fecal matter hits the oscillating turbine, and actually genuinely cared about the success and well-being of his staff. He was also very good at being a professional asshole when necessary. He asked where they were and then went outside to talk to them. I didn't hear the conversation, but I know it was just your typical manager inquiry into what happened, and wanting to make sure they were receiving proper service, all that. She then told them about how she thought I wasn't friendly enough to her and her friends. Went on about it being her bachelorette party and how much she had been looking forward to this and how rude I had been to them. GM knows better. GM was also there with me the previous night and knew I did a bang-up job given the circumstances. Well, I know OP well, and based on what I know and what you've told me, it sounds like he's done his job as I've asked him to do it. GM walks away. Pretty soon thereafter, we get a review posted online from the woman. I will note that I have never said, "What do you want?" nor I have resting bitch face to any customers in my life, as was claimed in the review. Afterwards, GM told me I had nothing to worry about. Things like this are going to happen. I stayed at the restaurant a few months past the busy season and was given the most lucrative shifts each week. 4. I work at a bar and restaurant, and got called in 4 hours early for my shift due to a 20-top showing up unannounced, and a 6-top walking in right after. Owner was working and probably could have handled it, but called me in because she recognized the 6-top as one of our regular groups that needs lots of attention. You know the kind. Everything okay? Anything else I can bring you? No, we're all good. 2 minutes later, how have you not brought me another drink I didn't ask for yet? So anyways, I show up and can see my boss is in the weeds. Dirty glasses and dishes everywhere, new tables still walking in, etc. I can't even talk to her because rude old Bitty, Rob, from the 6-top is up at the bar complaining about something. Never really did find out what she was complaining about other than the chicken. Hadn't even gotten their meals yet. Anyways, I digress. Rob eventually joins her party back on the patio. We served the food on the patio last year, but our kitchen can't handle the extra tables when we're full. Since we just kept getting negative reviews, we discontinued table service out there. We are very upfront about this, so I run their appetizer to their table inside the restaurant and leave it at the empty table within eyesight of the patio. Could I have said something to them? Sure. Had I not previous interactions with them and their attitudes, I most certainly would have. As I am beginning to drop off their meals, they start walking in from the patio, and Rob has a go at me because the appetizer is supposed to come before the meal. Yeah, that's been sitting there a while. So enjoy your cold, mushy, loaded tots, and I drop off the rest of their meals. Rob looks at the meal disapprovingly and barks at me that they all need waters. So I ask each individual person if they would like a water. 2 out of the 6 want waters, and Rob is not happy I foiled her hydration takeover. Perfect. Now it's all-you-can-eat wing day. You get 12 to start and can order more in batches of 6. Rob had no intention of following the rules I've explained, because she's special and wants to reorder 2 different sauces. Kitchen won't split 3 and 3, so she gets 12 more wings I know damn well she won't eat all of. Fine. I'll just foil her plan later when I refuse to give her a to-go box. Petty and wasteful, I know, doesn't matter. Rob goes up to the bar and the owner gives her a to-go box and says it's not an issue she wants to deal with. Owner is usually a stickler, so can only imagine the reaming Rob gave her earlier. Honestly, our wings aren't even that good to begin with, and I hope, they're even worse reheated, so have at it, Rob. Sometime later I assume Rob is putting her to-go box in her fridge at home, smiling smugly to herself about how she got one over on that servant girl, when, oh no, she realizes she's lost a charm off her bracelet. She immediately calls to let the owner know to be on the lookout for it. Owner dutifully passes the message along to the closer to check when sweeping up for the night. Surprise, that's me. I could have moved tables, I could have checked on the patio, but like I said, I'm petty. So yeah, I swept up the note with her name and number on it, and dumped it right in the trash. Treat people with decency, and you shall be rewarded in kind. 5. So I work at a pretty busy bar and restaurant. It's family-friendly, so we still get families and children pretty often. It's also gigantic, with 2 separate bars with 2 complete different beer lists. This can make serving exhausting and a little time-consuming. I'm serving several parties scattered throughout the gigantic restaurant, already at my capacity for tables. To be specific, I had 3 parties of 5 to 8, and 5 or 6 tables of 2 to 3. Then I get sat a table of a woman, her 2 children, her husband, her friend, and her 2 children and husband, and last but not least, both of their parents. So in total 12 people. It takes me a while to greet them, as most of my other tables' food came out all at the same time, so when I finally go to greet them, they already had their drink and food orders prepared, which I found a little relieving. That was until the 2 women ordered a beer flight. Each flight consists of 4 beers on a paddle-shaped tray, a tray that you could only hold 1 of at a time. They also both ordered beers scattered across each bar, meaning I would have to run back and forth from each bar 4 times to get each of their beers for each flight, and then deliver the paddles one by one to their table. But I made sure to let them know this process and that it would take quite a while. They understood. Or at least they claimed to. My first stop at their table was to drop off the non-alcoholic drinks, kids' drinks, etc. And I met with a, "Where are our flights?" leading me to waste even more time explaining the process yet again. The second stop I make at their table, I'm dropping off the first flight, which leads the second woman into thinking I forgot her flight, leading to me again, explaining I can only carry 1 flight at a time. Finally, I drop off the last flight and am met with a condescending sigh of a, "Finally." I go back and grab the appetizers, only for one of the moms, we'll call her Mom 2, to realize she's forgotten to order her kids' food. Mom of the year right here, cared to complain about her beers several times, without a thought about her own kids. I explained that the kids' meals will come out shortly after their meals, and they were already halfway done. She acknowledges this, but of course, as you can expect, she'll forget all about my warning. Everyone's food except Mom's 2's kids comes out shortly after, and immediately the mom asks, "Is my kid's food gonna come out?" I have to waste more breath on this woman re-explaining the wait. When the kids get their food, everyone is done with theirs. Mom 2 is in the bathroom, and her husband decides to order an order of cheese curds and wings to munch on while he waits for the kids to eat. And this is also where things go entirely downhill. Fast forward to the checks. Mom 2 sees her bill and immediately turns red. "What is this? This whole check is wrong." I try to explain the cheese curds and wings, but no one is backing me up, and my word means nothing to this woman. So I hand her a pen and ask her to circle exactly what's wrong with the bill. She begins circling nearly everything, including her flight, and only leaving her kids' meals and her own meal uncircled. So I start by asking her, "But I thought you had that flight." Big mistake. She now thinks I'm arguing with her and is full on yelling at me, "Stop arguing with me and take this off my bill!" Tears begin to fill my eyes, but this doesn't change her tone. I have no way whatsoever to prove anything to her because I've already collected the empty plates and flights. And anytime I try to prove that she ordered something, she yells at me to stop arguing with her. And finally saying, "I want to talk to your manager." So she does talk to my manager. My manager is probably the laziest manager on the planet, and basically just tells her, "Are you sure you didn't order that?" This only angers her further until finally her husband speaks up. I don't know if he wasn't paying attention, or was just entertained by her screeching, but he finally chimes in, "Oh yeah, I actually ordered that when you were in the bathroom." She doesn't apologize to me. She just says, "Oh," but continues to tell me how disappointed she is with my service, and that I'm still going to tip you well, but how dare you argue with me? I'm still crying, trying to explain to her that I wasn't trying to argue with her. Fast forward 2 weeks. She's back in the restaurant with her whole family and basically gives the server the same treatment as me. Our more aggressive manager was working this day, though, and made sure to drop a visit to their table. The manager doesn't even greet them. All she says is, "Weren't you here a couple of weeks ago?" They lie through their teeth and say they've never been here before. The manager persists, "Well, I'm just making sure you didn't come back hoping you would get more free food." They're speechless. All they say in return was, "That wasn't us." They left, and I haven't seen them since. But they did leave a hilarious review on our Google page, claiming that they tried to give this place a second chance, after saying they'd never been there before to my manager. They complained about bad service and bad food. But honestly, I couldn't care less. They more than likely won't be back, and have been stopped in their tracks while trying to scam us out of food. Anyways, I love my aggressive manager to death. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Spinning Plates number 51. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. Okay, now, I'm saying it now, so I have to do it. For those of you who have been waiting on the next installment of the Jack and Andy Adventures, the next part should be up on Sunday. I think that'll be part 7, won't it? I know I've been promising it for a few weeks, but various sore throats and things keep getting in the way. I would have done it last weekend, but that's why I didn't. But I've recorded over half of what I need so far, so it's just a hop, skip, and a jump to get the rest of it done. And I'm telling you now in this video that I'm definitely doing it, so that there's no excuses. I will get it done. I'll get it up, and I'm going to make no resolutions about doing other parts. But I've been feeling well enough to get a little extra done here and there with various things I'm trying to do for the channel. I recorded a little bit of Shakespeare. Just said that will just, if I do that as a video, it'll just be a short video. I've gotten a fresh copy of Dracula because I had to reset my tablet a while back and I lost all the books I had on it. So I've got a fresh copy of Dracula on there, and we're about ready to start on chapter 4. I think that's more Jonathan Harker stuff. Then I believe it switches to Lucy in chapter 5. So I'm going to have to come up with a Lucy voice. So I have to put a bit of thought into that, but I will get to do more Dracula as time moves on. You think to baffle me? With your pale faces all on a roll, like sheep in a butcher's. You shall be sorry yet, each one of you. Your girl... Okay. Save it for when I actually get to that chapter of the book. That's a little bit down the line, I believe. So hopefully things are starting to get back to normal with the channel, you know. Videos as regular, extra content. It's looking good. Don't want to jinx it, but it's looking good in terms of my ability to do it. I'm fully recovered. Well, I'm almost fully recovered health-wise. I got a funny taste in my mouth. I think it's just because I was sick for a while, and it'll sort itself out. Because I feel fine otherwise. I'm not sick otherwise. Skin is actually looking good for those wondering the treatments I was getting with the coal tar. They told me last appointment I can stop using the coal tar now, just keep using plenty of moisturiser. They'll see me in a week and hopefully can discharge me after that. So that's good. So things are looking up. Okay, and with that, I'm going to head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourself.